I got to tell you, who wouldn't be happy? I mean, listen, Shelby, it doesn't matter who you voted for, really, honestly, at this particular point. I keep talking about it. I see it all the time. I'm calling it animal spirits. I think it's the key component to making Donald Trump's economic plan successful. And it's announcements like this that get people on the bandwagon.
You know, and the first thing I thought about watching that clip was what a press conference. Donald Trump knows how to orchestrate these meetings, come down into the lobby. He knows cameras are there. Mr. Sun says we are making America great again. He's got everybody on board. So credit to Donald Trump. He's rolling up his sleeves. He's getting his hands dirty. He is really championing jobs in the United States. Mr. Sun has a history of betting on tech and telecom. It also seems like he's maybe betting on a Trump Justice Department. We know that SoftBank controls Sprint.
Yeah, on 80%
His plan
of Sprint.
was to buy T-Mobile, merge them together. It seems like that might be what he's going after here. A lot of details are unknown about the jobs he wants to create, but it seems like the beginning of a new relationship and probably a prosperous one.
David, there could be ulterior motives, but here's the thing with Sun that people should understand. This is a guy who built the company from scratch. He's a Korean ancestry, grew up in Japan as a minority, who was scorned. He's a Horatio Alger story. In fact, they had to adopt the Japanese name so that they wouldn't be discriminated against. He comes to America. He sees how businesses are developed. He goes back to Japan, and he creates a Silicon Valley-like business there that is running gangbusters. For him to come back and again say, hey, I want to put $50 billion into this country is really saluting the old school, pull yourself up, by your bootstraps atmosphere that I think Donald Trump is creating.
Well, and I've been hesitant, Charles, to make comparisons of this particular president-elect to one of my heroes, President Reagan. But I will say that there is a real familiarity with a lot of the way businesses were speaking when President Reagan was elected, that all of a sudden they were willing to begin investing again. They felt like there was a climate that was going to be friendly to enterprise. And I think that there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of undoing that needs to be done in terms of those animal spirits and in terms of business investment, both from foreign investment but also domestically, Charles. We have to see domestic businesses reinvesting in CapEx.
Sure.
That's been the missing ingredient. That's what's compressed GDP. To the extent that, as Shelby pointed out, President-elect Trump has an incredible ability to generate the hype around these things, but now I think putting some meat on the bone could very well be the octane we need. Speaking
of meat on the bone, think about this for a moment. And last week, you had to deal with OPEC. Crude oil shoots up north of 50. We keep it up there. We're talking perhaps $50 to $100 billion in CapEx projects that put people who work with their hands to work, construction workers to work, Brad. You couple that with billions of dollars, perhaps $50, $100 billion coming back into this country because everyone in the world wants to have a piece of this action. And we're talking about the ultimate stimulus package that costs our viewers zip.
No, absolutely. And Charles, listen, I think that Donald Trump, again, he's shown us already what he can do for this country and how he can take his capital. And he's taken his own money to work, and he's shown us how he can do it with his empire, which is worth $5 to $6 billion. And absolutely, I think this is a president, the first president in history who now can come into the White House with this business experience and understand, look at every line item and every deal of every expense to see how things get done.
Very quickly, Shelby, the Wall Street Journal was sort of critical of Donald Trump on the economic stuff, particularly trade policy. What's the atmosphere like now over there? Like, this guy's really doing all the right things so far?
I mean, the market's impressed. I think investors are feeling really good. Businesses have said that they'll start to hire. But this week, we saw Trump go after and single out certain businesses. That's creating a lot of confusion. We don't know what Trump's tariff plan is. We don't know what certain policies he'll be able to work with Republicans in Congress to put in place. So businesses like certainty. There's a little bit of uncertainty, but overall, they like
Everybody loves what's happening right now.
They like the plan.